Hello and welcome everyone, Jamie X66 here with a video review of The Outer Worlds. Now, let me first reassure you, the video you're about to watch only includes the first 10 minutes of gameplay, as I do with all my video reviews, so you're fine in terms of spoilers. If you're looking for a more in-depth written review, make sure if you're on YouTube to check the description below, and if you're watching this on IGTV, check my profile for the link to the written review. Now, let me start by saying, as of right now, The Outer Worlds is my current game of the year. I absolutely loved it. It has really blown me away with what it's able to offer. As you can see, now we're going through the introduction, but it really sets up everything in motion really strongly. Essentially, your character has been in suspended animation in the colony ship known as the Hope for 70 years. And the corporations that run the Halcyon colony, which is where you will be spending your time in the game, know this. Now, they have decided to leave you there to essentially not ruin their reputation and their profits. And that sort of sums up what the corporations are like here. Is a lot of corporate greed, there's a lot of oppression that is done on the workers and colonists to essentially make sure that in the end, the rich get richer and they stay richer. And essentially, that sums up the introduction to the game. Now, as I said about the fact that the corporations are running everyone, you find the more you scratch at the surface of this seemingly charming and happy, cheerful towns and little colonies that you find along the way, that there is dark, oppressive tones underneath. For instance, your first city that you actually go and visit is called Edgewater. Now, as you talk to characters and NPCs, you will learn more about the world, the planets, and the town itself, and as well as other characters. But there was one instance in the first town where, speaking around, you found out this one individual. It turns out he had taken some drugs to try and fix a plague that he had, and the side effects are it messes with your head a bit. So unfortunately, he took his own life. Now, just to sort of summarize what the corporations in this game are like, unlike any other place that would try and support the workers that were affected by this unfortunate circumstance, they were looking to charge the city because they consider every employee to be company property. There was one instance where I was able to find a computer email where they found a severed hand in a machine, and they were looking for that person to come forward so they could charge them for damaging company property. Now, that is just a small slither of how the corporations really do oppress everyone around. So there was instances where you go and speak to characters and they wouldn't want to speak their mind because they, as they say, the walls have ears and you never know who is listening. There was one instance where an individual was printing wanted posters, and then of course the corporations decided to then imprison this guy because if he's printing the wanted posters, obviously he knows something about that individual, and that sums up the world. So all the characters that you speak to, they're going through a lot of turmoil, and this turmoil is showcased brilliantly because of the fantastic and incredible writing that The Outer Worlds delivers. Honestly, I say this from my review, it's some of the best writing I've experienced in recent memory. It's definitely probably my favorite writing of this year. Every NPC that has expanded dialogue, you go and speak to them and you want to listen. You want to hear what they have to say. You want to find out what that guy that lives down the road is all about, his views, what their views are on the town, on the planet, on the corporations. Each one has fantastic voice acting, and the writing itself is just brilliant. It really does sort of just gain your attention, and you don't want to go away. You want to just experience every single piece of dialogue. And I found myself spending hours simply just listening, talking, and simply enjoying what the game has to offer. Now, the game appreciates you if you appreciate it. Now, what I mean with that is there are characters that will offer you side missions if you take the time to talk to them. Now, if you skip talking to people, you will miss side missions. You will miss quality side missions with brilliant writing, some comedic moments that always seem to deliver, and some really fun and unique missions. But that's what I mean. The Outer Worlds, it doesn't point you in a direction. It allows you to take the game on as you see fit. If you want to just plow through the main story, you can do that. You'll be missing out on a lot, but you can do it. if you take the time to explore everywhere, speak to everyone, you will find additional missions and you will find the most enjoyment out of the game. But the game doesn't inform you that you have to do this. That's completely up to you. And that's what I love. It doesn't direct you to the fun. It allows you to find it yourself and it gives you those choices. Now, your choices do matter in the story. I won't give anything away, but if you're an ass to certain people, certain other people may look at that and decide they won't help you. So keep that in mind as you make your way through the game. Because there are circumstances where my choices greatly affected what I wanted to do. Now, as I said, so the side missions are great, but some of the other missions with your companions are great. So I mentioned this in the review. I think the crew in the Outer Worlds is very close to the level of Mass Effect 2, which says a lot because the crew in that game is incredible. The crew here, each one has their own goals, background, sort of instances where they will come forward and they will give you their opinions on certain things you did or choices you're about to make. They will talk to other characters. Let's say you go and find someone and you start talking to them and it turns out your crew member knows them. They will have their own conversation and you can sit there and just enjoy it. It makes the entire world feel like it existed long before you arrived and it will continue to long after you're gone. It really does embrace that fact that you're exploring this colony and it's up to you how you tackle it. The companion missions are all fantastic. I really enjoyed all of them, and you really get to learn about the crew and find out which ones you like and which ones you dislike and which ones you will want in your party. So keep that in mind. They all have unique personalities, and I entirely love them. So moving on, your character, as you saw probably from the gameplay at the start of this video, you have the options to sort of edit the face. There's a lot of options there, a lot of facial hair, normal hair, but you can't change the body, but that doesn't really matter. First person game, you won't particularly see too much of them unless you go into menus and you're not wearing a helmet, but you do have the choice to choose your background. So my character had a background in medicine and engineering, so if he spoke to characters that had those qualities, he could sort of interact with them more in depth. So it gives you those options, and it does factor in what your choices were when creating your character. Now, in terms of choices, those choices carry over to the gameplay, so you can go in guns blazing, and the combat itself is faster than Fallout, a little bit, say, slower than a Call of Duty or the mobility options of Call of Duty, but it's very solid. I don't really have any qualms with the combat. It's a lot of fun, but you don't have to always go through guns blazing. I personally used my dialogue options, and I was able to skip a lot of firefights this way, simply using intimidation and lies to get through. Or you can simply try and stealth. Like, you can stealth through a majority of this game if you decide to throw your perk points and skill points in that direction. So, depending on the decisions you decide, you can do whatever you want. As you can see, this is some stealth gameplay right now. You can decide to take each combat situation completely differently if you like. But of course, if you level up certain stats, they will complement your style and make it a little bit easier to achieve what you want within the gameplay. Now, the thing I have to finish on, the game looks absolutely gorgeous. This is just the first world, but all the games itself, all the planets you visit, sorry, are all distinct, beautiful color palette, and really unique. But I spent over 40 hours in the Outer Worlds, and I almost encountered literally close to zero technical issues. That is a sheer testament to the quality Obsidian has put into this game. It has given a huge expectation for other open world RPGs to really live up to, because it just comes out, it does what it needs to do, and it does it in a smooth and beautiful experience, and it really does, like I said earlier, appreciate it. It really does appreciate you joining in exploring the world if you decide to do it. So, I don't know what else to tell you. Go out and play the Outer Worlds. Hopefully you've just stopped the video and headed out to your local EB Games to pick this one up, because it is absolutely fantastic. It invested me like very few games have done this year and in recent memory. And in my review, I've given this a 9.5, and I very well did consider 10. So it's a fantastic game, 9.5. If you want to check out the review, make sure you check the description or my profile for the links. I hope you have been enjoying the Outer Worlds. Let me know what you think of it below, and let me know if my review has made you want to pick this up. But until the next video review, make sure you keep on gaming.